Hello everybody, good morning. Welcome to You Can Do What with Google Docs. We're going to get started. Let me get back to my beginning slides here. Give you a little preview of what we're going to see today. So just some housekeeping things. Oh, I need to mute you, Meredith, sorry. Hi everybody. We're going to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. This is my first ever YouTube live stream using the OBS software. So please be patient, be kind, give some grace, because to be honest, I have no idea how this is going to go, but it's going to be a party, so we're gonna roll with it. The session resources, the presentation for today, the questions docs, all of that will be shared with you at the end of the presentation today, so you will get all of this. The great thing about live streaming to YouTube is that it will save the video, and so as soon as I click stop streaming, it'll process, and this will be on my YouTube channel, so you can come back to the video when you need. If you have questions, please use the back channel. Meredith Hill is joining me today. She is our lead media specialist with Pitt County Schools, and she's going to be monitoring that back channel chat. So questions go in the back channel, and Meredith has put the links to that in the live chat box. And then if you would like to take collaborative notes, I have created a Padlet where you can add any ideas that you have while we're going through the stuff today. And any notes that you take, you can comment on each other's. You can add in your own resources if you like. The Padlet link, Meredith has also dropped that into the live chat, and it is also linked from the questions document. If your question does not get answered, because I have jam-packed the next hour for us, if your question doesn't get answered, I promise I will go back through that back channel and I will answer all of the questions that don't get answered during our live portion today. I am presenting 2 more times this afternoon, so honestly it may be tomorrow until that happens, but I promise you will get answered to your questions. Certificates of participation, that link will be shared again at the end of the session, so make sure you stick around to get that. Please fill that form out today. I do believe they will close the form, so make sure you get that link. Make sure, just go ahead and fill it out as soon as you get the link, and then we'll be good. When you fill out the form, a link will be sent to you where you can save your certificate, and you will then submit that to your LEA. I will tell you just a word of caution, not all districts award certificates or award CEUs for webinars. So like I know our district, Pitt County Schools in Eastern North Carolina, does not. So that's something that you will need to check on with your individual districts. If something goes wrong or you have a question, if you'll email nclearnstogether@gmail.com, and they will do what they need to get your questions answered. How much credit will you receive? This is a 1-hour session, so that's equal to 0.1 CEUs. We are recommending that it count for digital learning competency credit, but again, that'll be up to your LEA. And then how will you receive your credit? You have to participate in the live chat, ask questions in the Padlet, stick around and enjoy learning some new stuff today. And to get the most out of your hour, share your ideas and connect with the people who are here with you. So just real quick, here are those 2 links again if you want to either screenshot this or jot it down. Again, it is in the chat. But the bit.ly link at the top, that's for questions. Please only do questions in the back channel, simply because last time I did a live audience webinar, we broke the Google Doc. That was very interesting. I didn't know you could break a Google Doc, but apparently we did crash it. And so questions on the Google Doc and then notes on the Padlet. All right, so just to warm up our brains this morning and get everybody in the mood to learn, we're going to play a quick game called Me Too. And so I'm going to put a statement up on the screen, and if you are experiencing that, or if you can say Me Too, just drop a quick Me Too in the live chat. All right, so first one. I need a haircut. It's been way too long since I've had a haircut. I am in desperate need one. I really need to get it thin because it's getting hot and it's just getting big. So if you are experiencing the same thing, go ahead and drop a Me Too in the chat box, and let's see all the people who need who need haircuts. Yay, Me Too's! I'm not the only one. All right. Yeah, here they come. All right, next question. I went somewhere other than my house for Memorial Day. I can't say that. I hung around the house with the new neighbors. So if you got to venture out and try something new, try someplace new for Memorial Day, tell me in the chat box. Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be too much longer for we can... Oh, somebody went to the salon on Saturday. Nice. All right, and question number 3. If you did go somewhere, tell us where. So if you say Me Too in the chat box, tell us where you got to go. And then question number 3. I have spent too much money on Amazon during quarantine. I saw a funny meme on Facebook about a husband saying, I love how much money we're saving, not being able to go out, and the wife hitting buy now on Amazon and saying, yes, honey. I've spent some, not too much. Oh, so people went to the beach. Nice. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the content for today. So again, this is I can do what with Google Docs? We have been asked to connect our presentations today to the new digital learning standards for students. So we all know that a few years ago, the digital learning competencies for teachers were approved, and starting next year, the state of North Carolina has actually adopted the ISTE standards for our students, and we're calling those the digital learning standards. So in looking at the things that I'm going to be sharing today and the things that you're going to be learning today, I felt that one of the standards that really connects to using Google Docs with your students is this idea of the creative communicator. So this just says that students communicate clearly and express themselves creatively for a variety of purposes using the platforms, tools, styles, formats, and digital media appropriate to their goals. So I'm going to show you how we can incorporate lots of different media, how we can format and use the different tools in Google Docs to really take your level or your usage up to that guru level, and hopefully teach you a few new things today. All right, so let's move into our Google Doc. So the way that I've kind of planned out the webinar is I've gotten everything that I want to share with you today. I've got it down on this Google Doc. I have utilized the commenting feature to share some pro tips with you over on the right-hand side. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to demo how to do all of these really cool things with you today so that you'll have all of the steps. So first things first, whenever I create a new Google Doc, the first thing that I do is I go in and I change my margins. I am typically not printing my Google Docs. I'm either embedding them into a Canvas course or I'm sharing them digitally. So there is no reason why we need to leave the margins at 1 inch all the way around. So the first thing that I do is I come into File and then go down to Page Setup. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change all of these to 0.5. And I use my tab key to quickly scroll through each one of those. Go ahead and give yourself as much room on the page as you can. Now, I'm also a fanatic for anything purple. So unless this is a professional document, I am typically coming over here and I am changing the color of my document to purple. You can change it to any color that you want to, but I get asked a lot of times, how do you make your Google Doc a color? And so this is where you do it. It's under the Page Setup and Page Color. Also notice that this is where you would switch from portrait to landscape, and you can change your page size as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And yay, now it's pretty and purple. All right. The next thing is fonts. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but there are tons of fonts that are available to you. So if you come up here to the font drop-down menu, you'll see that I have already added a bunch of different fonts. I come from the elementary world and I really like things to look cute. So I'm always on the lookout for a cool font. If you only have the default fonts that come in with you, to add more fonts, what you're going to do is from the drop-down menu, the very first option up here at the top. If you click more fonts, you'll get the list of all the fonts that are available in Google Docs. And what's cool is that if you add them here in Docs, you'll then have them in slides and sheets and drawings and all that. So to add a font, you're simply going to click the check mark or click in the space beside it to check it, and then click OK, and those fonts are instantly added to your fonts list for you to use. So don't do it now because you'll get lost. It's a rabbit trail. I love, again, exploring different fonts, but that's how you would add new ones to your arsenal. If you're going to use combinations of fonts in your Google Docs, a good rule of thumb is to mix it up with a tall, skinny font and a shorter, squatty font. So when you're trying to mix fonts, think contrast with that. The next thing that I do before I ever start typing anything onto my page is I go ahead and set my styles. And that's text styles and bullet styles. Again, when I'm creating Google Docs, typically I'm creating them as tutorials or task sheets for the Canvas courses that I'm creating. So I'll typically have 4 different styles that I use. I'll have titles, subtitles, body text, and then directions or a task list for the people who are using my Google Doc. So to set the styles, what you do is you'll come in, highlight the text that you want to go ahead and change. You will need to put a little bit of text on the page. And then just come in and set what you want your styles to be. So we'll use this one for my title. I'm going to go ahead and set my text bigger. And we'll use a darker purple. Then for my subtitles, I'll come in and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and set all of my text styles to how I want them to look. I'm just going to do this really quickly. And I'm going to mix and match the different fonts. I would not recommend using more than 2 fonts in a document because it just gets too much. So these are the font styles that I would use for this document. So Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight them and use my styles drop-down box, and I'm going to go to my title because this is a title document. I'm going to use my arrow over, and I'm going to update title to match. So now when I go back to my drop-down menu, you'll see that the title has now changed to the style that I set. So I'm going to do the same thing for subtitles. Use the drop-down. I'm going to update subtitle to match. Do the same for body text. I'm going to call this one the normal text. And then, oh, I probably should have changed directions. So let's change directions to another color so it would stand out. And so then I'll change this one to heading number 1, and I'll make that match. So if you look, when I changed the normal text, it went through my entire document and it went ahead and changed all of the text that was already there. So I just formatted my whole document with one step. But what I can do is now go back into all of my headings that I created and apply those titles. So this was a subheading. And so I can go through my whole document. Now, again, typically, I'm going to do this beforehand, and I'm not going to have to go back through my whole document and reformat. So go ahead and set what you want it to look like beforehand. It just makes it so much easier. You're not, constantly having to go back to your format menu up at the top. It just saves you clicks, which in the long run saves you time. So that's how you set text styles. The next one that you can change, and this totally changed my life. Again, I come from the elementary world. I like cute things. So you can also change your bullet styles. So typically when you add bullets, you'll come over to your bullets drop-down menu and we get this. Now don't get me wrong, these little diamonds are cute and the little stars are cute, but it's black and white. I like color. So what you can actually do is you can change what these look like. And so to do that, it's under the format menu. So what I did is I clicked on my bullets. I'm going to come up here to the format menu, and for bullets and numbering, I'm going to go to list options. When I go to list options, there is this option for more bullets. All right, prepare yourselves. When I click more bullets, what it does is it brings up my special characters menu. So I can use all of these as bullets. But again, these are boring. They're black and white. I want some color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to the emoji. And I like the flowers. So I can change all of my bullets to pretty flowers. And I can do the same thing with my other ones. So what's nice is if you come and you want to do it for your next set of bullets, when you go back to the format and bullets and numbering list, there is a category or drop down for recent. And so anything that you have used recently will be listed right up here at the top, so you don't have to search for those again. So I'm going to pause really quickly and go into our questions document to see if there are any questions that need to be answered. Oh, that is not the right questions document. So Lucille is asking, is there a way to save margin settings that you don't have to do it every time? Yes. So going into the file and then page setup document, once you change all of those, you have this button as set as default. So if you click that, however you have your page setup set for right now, color, orientation, paper size, and margins, click that button and that will be your default from now on. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So I'm going to give, because I know I'm on a bit of a delay. Oh, and now my thing's frozen. Yes, sorry about the bit.ly. I tried to change the font to make it a little bit more stand outish, that's an I, not an L. Those are my apologies. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions, so I'm going to come back and keep right on rolling. To talk about bullets again, I added some little pro tips over here. Instead of using the back and forth indent buttons on the toolbar, if you use your tab key when you add a bullet, it will automatically go to the next level without having to click that button. And then using the enter button will decrease and will go backwards. So tab and enter when you're using bullets will save you lots and lots of time. All right, I'm gonna keep right on rolling down to the next part. So we've talked about setting up our Google Doc. Now let's talk about organizing within our Google Doc. So one thing that I like to make use of is bookmarking. So what bookmarking does is it kind of it creates a spot or an address, a link in our Google Doc. So one way that we use bookmarking in our department is for our course catalog. So I'm going to just throw this disclaimer out here. These courses are old and only available for Pitt County Schools people. So this is just for demo purposes. But what we've done is we've listed all of our course descriptions at the bottom of this Google Doc. And so we have bookmarked, and the bookmark symbol looks just like a bookmark that you're going to use in a book. But what this has done is it has created a link to this exact spot in our Google Doc. And so each one of our courses are bookmarked down here. And then at the very top of our document, we've got just our course index, the list. And what we've done is we have linked each one of these to the course descriptions at the bottom of the page. So when I click on the title, it's going to bring up that bookmark link, and when I click on it, it's going to take me directly to that place in the document where I want to go. So that's how bookmarking works. The way that you set up a bookmark is whatever text you want to kind of geotag within your Google Doc, wherever you want to create that address. You're going to highlight the text, and then you're going to use the insert menu. So it's insert and bookmark down here at the bottom. And so now I have my little bookmark symbol. I can see the link if I want to. Oh, that took it off. That didn't work. That's my bad. Don't click link. And so what I can do is now come back up here, and let's say that this is what I want to be able to click on to get to that bookmark. So I'm going to highlight. I'm going to use either my insert link button here at the top, or notice that I have a shortcut key here. Learn your shortcut keys. They will save you so much time. And this is one that I use constantly when I'm creating docs, is the insert link. So I'm on a Mac, so that's Control K. On a PC or a Chromebook, it would be Control K. But I'm going to use that. Notice now, since I have set headings and I have inserted a bookmark, not only is this link box now for pasting links to outside URLs, but now I can use these different spots from within my Google Doc. So I'm going to click my drop down for bookmarks. There's the bookmark that I just created. I'm going to click this, apply, and so now it changes this to a link, and when I click and go to the bookmark, it takes my cursor down to the place that I bookmarked. Obviously, they're very close to each other in the doc, so it didn't shoot me to another page. But bookmarking would be great for doing just that. My idea would be to use it for creating choose your own adventure stories. So you would write your story, use page breaks. So that would be insert, page break, or Control Enter to just go ahead and go down to the next page without having to enter down a gazillion times to get to the next page. Type your stories and your different options, and then for each option you would do a bookmark. So let's just do a quick example here. So we're going to have, let's say everything before up at the top was the first part of my story. So we're going to have option 1, tab over a couple times, option 2. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the bottom of the document. I'm going to Command Enter, and that inserts a page break, so I'm on a brand new page. This would be option 1, and I'm just going to type what option 1 would be. I did just type. Oh, there it is. All right, so there's option 1. Then I would enter down a couple more times, do another page break with Control Enter. So I'm on a totally new page. This would be option 2. Go ahead and type some text here. And now what I want to do is I want to bookmark my different options. So I'm going to insert, bookmark, go back up to option number 1. We're going to bookmark that, insert, bookmark. And then I'm going to come back up to my original story, or the first part of my story, and then I'm going to link to those options. So Control K to link, drop down to bookmarks, there's option 1, apply, option 2, Control K, insert bookmark, apply. And so now if I'm reading, I'm going to go to option 2 because I like that better, and then I can click my bookmark and it's going to take me straight to option 2, and then I can continue to build out my story. Now, if choose your own adventure is something that, you know, sounds really cool, which the kids love it, plan it out first. I've gotten deep into those and then have completely lost myself and lost where I am. So storyboarding is a great idea for creating choose your own adventure stories. And I saw somebody in the back channel say choice boards. Choice boards would be a great way to use bookmarking, and it would be set up pretty similar to how we set up that course catalog. You would have a table up at the top with all of your different choices, and then bookmark down below where you've given maybe a rubric and more explanation about what that option entails. All right, so moving on to the next little cool thing is table of contents. Now, if you set title and subtitle headings. If you go ahead and set that when you first get started, you can use what's called a table of contents. And so if your doc ends up being huge, let's say you're creating your own textbook or something along those lines, what you can do, obviously I would put the table of contents up at the very top of your document. So I'm going to just come back up here to the top, enter down a couple of times, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my insert menu and I'm going to do a table of contents. You have a couple of different options. If your doc is really, really big, maybe you do want to include page numbers. This one's not going to be huge, so I'm just going to do with links. So when I insert that, anything that I have set to headings will display in my table of contents. So as you go through and begin to add those, again, typically I'm not going to go back through and do all of this, but as you add more, you can always come back up to your table of contents, and when you click on it and hover your mouse over it, you get this update table of contents. So it will continue to build as you add more of those headings and subtitles. And actually, thinking about it, your headings are what works in the table of contents. So if you are going to make use of the table of contents, instead of using titles and subtitles, you're going to want to use headings. That is what will appear up here in the table of contents. And I'll go back and I will make that note in the comments for that. The next thing for organization is horizontal lines. Now, I know that this is not a big deal, but just in terms of organization and looks, horizontal lines do so much for a Google Doc or for a doc. So to add in your horizontal lines, you'll just place your cursor in your document where you want your horizontal line to go, and then it's under the insert menu. So insert horizontal line, and bam, I've got sections now that are very explicit sections, and I know when I'm going to be moving from one topic or one piece of content to the next. So again, something super, super simple, but that just makes a huge difference in the look of your docs. All right, so I'm going to pause and go to our questions document here to see if there are any questions that need to be answered. Not seeing anything. Great. All right, well then I'm going to keep on rolling. Again, if you add a question, if it doesn't get answered, I promise you I will go back and answer it. All right, so next is talking about working with images in Google Docs, and this is where I completely nerd out and get excited because there's just so much that you can do with images. Unfortunately, you can't add videos embedded into a Google Doc. We can always link to those videos, but actually embedding one, we can't do that. So if you're wanting to embed videos, you'll definitely want to use Google Slides or even Google Sites. Google Sites are super easy to use now that they've moved to the new sites. Super, super cool. All right, are y'all ready for this? I'm so excited. All right, so a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I truly believe that, and so I like to use lots of images in my docs. So I will encourage you, I want to encourage you, and I want you to encourage your students. When you're inserting images, please do not just open up a new Google tab and do a Google image search. And the reason for that is typically your search results that you're getting are not copyright friendly. You may not actually have permission to use those. So What I would encourage you to do is to use this drop-down menu here if you're going to do a Google search. So if it's not something that you have saved to your computer or your drive, use the drop-down menu, and we're going to use this second option right here to search the web. The reason we're going to do this is, number one, it keeps everything right here in the window that we're in the tab that we're in, so I'm not having to go back and forth between tabs. Also, I'm totally obsessed with polar bears, y'all. If y'all have ever been in any of my sessions, whenever I search for a picture, I search for polar bears. Oh, I don't want a drawing. I want an actual picture. The second reason, other than we're all staying in one place, is because all of these images are copyright-friendly images. We have permission to use these. We have permission to modify these. So I'm just going to double-click, and it's going to add this polar bear picture in here. So some things that I can now do with this picture. If I double-click on the image, well, let's do single click. If I single click the image, I get the blue line around it, and again, I can resize if I need to by dragging in the arrows. I can spin it around a little bit if I want to with the blue dot up at the top. But the fun stuff comes in when you double click. So when you double click, you get these black lines. This is cropping. So I can actually, if I don't need all of that extra snow on the sides, I can actually crop that out using those black lines. I can also replace that image if I want to, but if I come over here and activate image options, I can now do some sizing and rotation if I want. Some images will let you recolor, so we can recolor it red. Why not a purple polar bear, because that would just be perfect. So we have some different options there. We can make it transparent or more transparent, so maybe if we want to I don't know, use it in Google Slides or something and want to layer text. We can't layer text here in Google Docs. That's another difference there. Or I can go back and I can reset the color adjustments. I can also, oh, this doesn't have the drop shadow. Okay, so those are your different image options that you have here for your reformatting there. So we now have a purple polar bear that I have cropped out different things. If you don't like it, you can always go back and reset your image and it'll reset it for you. So cropping is a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun with it. If you're planning to join me for Slides has even more image editing options, which are totally fun, and we'll have lots of fun with that this afternoon if you join me. I put in here masking. Apparently masking is not available in Google Docs, so that's my bad. Masking is what I will show you in Google Slides this afternoon. A cool trick, if you need all of your images to be the same size, so if you're going to be using images as icons, which are really helpful for younger students, what you can do is you can actually use a table to size all of your images the exact same size. So what you can do is insert, and you're going to insert a table, and you're just going to do a 1-by-1 table. Go ahead and hover your mouse over your bottom margin and click and drag. And then do the same thing on your side margin, click and drag in to size your 1-by-1 table to whatever size you want your images to be. And so I can come back into my image over here, and I can click and drag the images into the box. Notice my blue cursor showing up inside the table. When I drop the image in there, it decided it didn't want to be in there. Let's try again. Come on. Oh, cannot create some images. Oh, maybe. Is it going to try? There we go. All right, so it automatically resized my image here to the size of my box. And so now what I can do is I can Command X to cut that image out of the box, and then Command V to paste it where I want it to go in my document. I can do the same thing with the polar bear picture that I had already added. I'm going to cut it using Command X, and I'm going to paste it into my table here, and it automatically resizes. And now I can cut and paste. Oh, I didn't click. Let's try again. Cut. Oh, I cut the whole table, not just the image. That's my bad. But you should be able to click and drag it out as well. So that is using tables to size images. Fun stuff. All right, now hold on to your hats, people. This is where it gets very interesting. So you can actually add animated images to your Google Docs. I am obsessed with Bitmojis. I love everything Bitmoji. And so I've actually discovered that if you have Snapchat, if you're using your Bitmojis with Snapchat, there's a filter for 3D Bitmojis. So what I did, I'm not going to have time to show you how to do that, but I have linked. This link right here is to a video that will show you how to do that. But I went ahead, I created my 3D Bitmoji in Snapchat, I saved it to my phone, and I've emailed it to myself. Then what I did is I used unscreen.com to remove the background from my Bitmoji. And so now I can, let's see, running a little slow here. I think my computer is getting sleepy. I can use unscreen.com to actually download my 3D Bitmoji as an animated GIF or an animated PNG file. I found the animated PNG did not work, but the animated GIF did. So hold on to your hats. I now have a clapping Bitmoji inside my Google Doc. How cool is this? So imagine giving feedback to your students that it's you, your Bitmoji, clapping, and then you can type out some comments like, this was amazing, the best work you've ever turned in, yada, yada, yada. Now, it's a regular image, so I can come in here and crop out all of this extra space that is in my Bitmoji, so that it's not taking up so much extra space in my document. And she is, again, a regular image that if I just click on her once, I can resize her, and I can wrap her or wrap the text around her so that my document is a little bit more, not all spaced out. So that's using, actually I need to put her in line because that's going to mess up my formatting here. Again, I don't have time to show you that whole process, but I have linked to a video that shows you how to do that. The next animated image that I use all the time when I'm making my Google Docs is animated tutorials. So you can embed GIFs, or we can have the argument GIF versus GIF. I'm sticking with GIF. You can obviously, like I just did, embed those into a Google Doc. So I use a tool called Snagit. And Snagit allows me to do a quick screencast or screen recording and then change that into a GIF. And so just to show you what that looks like, and so this is a tutorial doc that I created for one of my courses that talks about organizing docs in your Google Drive. And so this right here is an animated GIF that all I did was record my screen and turn that video recording into a GIF. That is again, that program is called Snagit. Super duper useful for creating tutorials and things like that. Snagit is not free. It is a one-time fee, and there is an special educator pricing for $29.95. So if creating tutorials is something that you do a lot, it may be worth getting your principal or your PTA to pay for. I think, you know, $30 is a one-time fee of $30 is pretty reasonable. I'm going to continue. I'm going to keep moving because I've got several more things that I want to make sure that I show you. And I'll get to, again, I promise you I will answer any questions that you have in that back channel. Make sure you leave contact information if it's something that maybe you want me to create a video for. I don't know. But lots of cool stuff left, and I'm running out of time. So, Google Drawings inside Google Docs. So, We've made our Google Docs cute with our fun bullets and our text styles, and we're going to add in some animated images and things like that. Now it's time to take the interactivity of our Google Doc to the next level. And we can do that by embedding drawings. So I'm not going to go and open a new tab and create a drawing. I can do it right here in Google Docs. So I'm going to use my Insert menu, and I'm going to insert a drawing, and I want to insert a new drawing. So the way that I really like to use the drawings feature in Google Docs is to create drag and drop activities. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a real quick, simple drag and drop activity. So I'm going to add a picture of the water cycle. So I'm going to do a Google image search here. Remember, if I'm using the search tool from within the doc itself, I'm going to get copyright-friendly images. Again, it's running a little slow. All right, so here's the one that I want to use. I'm going to click on it and then select. It will hopefully come into my drawing. Here we go. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to create shapes or text boxes that the students are going to drag into the appropriate place on the screen. So I'm going to create my box here. We're going to say this one is precipitation, resize. Really quickly, I'm going to Control D to duplicate. That saves so much time rather than having to create all the boxes that you're using. And we'll use evaporation. And so once I get all of my text boxes that I want the students to use to label my drawing, I'm going to save it and I'm going to close it. And it's going to add it right here into my Google Doc. So what I need to do now as the teacher is I need to provide instructions for my students. And I'm going to tell my students, double click on the drawing and then drag the definition or drag the labels to where they belong on the picture. So the students, they're going to have their own copy of this doc, are going to come in, they're going to double click, it's going to open up the drawing, and then they can just drag the pictures where they belong on the drawing, and when they're done, they're going to click Save and Close. And so now, when I'm opening up my students' documents, I can just scroll through and see that, hey, they put them in the correct place, and we are good to go. So that's using drawings in docs. So those are taking your Google Doc usage up to guru level. Let's make it interactive, let's make it move, and let's have some fun. So the next few things that I'm going to show you, I'm going to run out of time. I always put way too much into these, but like I said, I will go back and I'm into this doc and I will add whatever tutorials I need to here. So please make sure you get the link to this doc so that you'll have all of these fun new things. So voice typing is great for students who struggle with typing or struggle with getting that idea from their head down through their arms and through their fingertips. So it's a much shorter path from the brain to the mouth than it is from the brain to the fingertips. So under tools, I can actually come in and I can use voice typing. And so I can actually type or voice type in many, many different languages here. I'm going to stick with English. So to type, you're just going to click and it turns red, and as it is red, everything that you type or everything that you speak, it will type, period. When you're done, you just click the button again. Notice I said period and it inserted a period. So if you speak your punctuation, it will put it in there. If you don't, this is editable text and you can always come back in here and add any things that you need. Next is translate. So if you have a family whose native language is not English, you can actually come in here and you can translate your document. It will make a copy of the document. So you'll have two different ones. It doesn't actually change your original one. Again, you can choose the document here. Choose the language. Let's say French, and then click translate. Again, it will take time to process all that, but then you can share that with your whoever you need to share it with. A word of caution is it does not take into account different dialects. It is like textbook translations. So if at all possible, I would have someone proofread that before you send it to another family, because it sometimes doesn't make any sense because it is like I said, by the textbook. Substitutions are so much fun to play with and can be such a time saver. So substitutions are actually under the tools menu for preferences. And so what you can do is come in here under substitutions, and there's some that are already in here. So all of your fractions, if you type the fraction in like 1-half, it will actually turn it into what looks like an actual fraction for your students. But let's say that you are constantly having to tell or give feedback to use proper grammar, punctuation, and spelling. So I can come in here and type in GP for grammar and punctuation. Be careful using combinations that you might actually type in a real word, because if you type that, it's going to change it. So I'm going to change GP to please use proper grammar and punctuation. Okay. So now every time I type GP into my document and hit the space bar, it changes it to what I put in. The only thing that drives me crazy is it does not hold on to capitalization. So you would have to come in and capitalize that, and you would have to use proper spelling, punctuation. There we go. So you can have a lot of fun with that. Different things. Keyboard shortcuts, I've already told you, please, please, please learn these. They will save you so much time. You can find those up under the help menu for keyboard shortcuts. I'm at the 5-minute mark. So for these last two sections here, the managing your docs and the interface, what I will do is I will record another video later, and I will put notes in here in the document for what I was going to share for that. So while you're here on my channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel or jot down the name I Teach Teachers Tech and come back to find that. I will also link to that video from right here in this document. So if nothing else, make sure you get the link to the document. I've given some links here to some extensions that I highly recommend you use. All of the help documents that I have created for my Canvas courses that have anything to do with Google Docs, I have given you here links to, and as well as some really creative ways to use Google Docs in your classroom. For elementary all the way down to the kinders, they can do this stuff. So again, please, Meredith, if you'll drop those links into the link for the Padlet, the link for the back channel. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and move to our attendance form. So here is the presentation link, and this presentation link is just the link to this Google Doc. So you will definitely want to grab this link because, again, I'm going to go back, I'm going to add some more notes, I'm going to record some more videos, and add all of that in here to this document. I'll also add that to my YouTube channel. And here is the link for the attendance form. Please, 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 please go ahead and do this now before your next session starts, so that way you don't have to remember to go back and do it this afternoon, because this form will close today. So I hope that this was fun. I hope that you learned a few new tips and tricks. Please, please, please come back for that last little bit. Again, I apologize. I always put way too much into these things, but I just want you to have all the stuff. I do it because I love you. And I would love to see you. I have 2 afternoon sessions, one at 2 o'clock on Google Slides and one at 3 for Google Sheets. Please do not be afraid of Google Sheets. They are magical. And you're going to get lots of stuff from that this afternoon. So thank you, thank you, thank you. While you all are getting those links, I will come into the questions to see if there are any questions that were just dying to be answered. I'm not seeing anything. Lots of stuff in the Padlet. Thank you so much for participating with that. And yay, I made it through my first live stream on YouTube. Yay! All right, I'm going to leave these links up for another couple of minutes. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for joining, and thank you for learning for your students. I know that this time has been absolutely crazy, and we've all had to do things that we probably never thought that we would have to do, but I know that you are here for your students, and you are amazing, and you blow my mind every day. Thank you so much. I just saw someone in the chat box say they tried to register for the afternoon sessions and that they were full. The afternoon sessions are YouTube streams as well, so they will not fill up. All are welcome. You can feel free to join. Again, if you follow my channel or subscribe to my channel, you'll get an alert when I go live if you click the little bell. If not, just come back to my channel at 2 o'clock and we'll be rolling. So sessions are not full. Thank y'all.